like to start to please keep the entire Stoops family in your hearts and minds on the recent passing of Mark and Mike's mother, Dee. A really tough and somber day today as they lay her to rest. So please, just a little prayer today would be great.
All right, thanks. And we'll go ahead and throw it open for questions for Coach White.
Brad, anything on film change your perception?
No, and I think it's what we all saw on Saturday. It's what we saw live and in person. We up front defensively, we need to be better. From a run fit standpoint, I think collectively we're all embarrassed by that performance, especially against the run. For the most part, I thought the secondary capped the defense, and that was the goal. Other than one scramble play, and I thought they did a nice job. But what we didn't do is, and something that we knew they had a really good running back, but was a little bit unexpected, was to fit the run as poorly as we did. Some of the tackling was not good and up to our standards. So obviously need to get that cleaned up with a really good run game this weekend.
Was it physicality? Was it gap control? What do you think brought most of those problems in the fitting of it?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of both. I think there was, when we've played really well, our front seven this year has been dominant. I don't think we were nearly, obviously we weren't dominant. There was nothing, dominant about that performance. We need to get back to that. Obviously, at this point in the season, guys can get, nicks here and there, but everybody's got that. And so this is where that true toughness, the true grit, and your true character really starts to shine through. In this sort of back end of the season, you've got to play through some of those bumps and bruises. You got to play physical. You can't get worn down physically or mentally. You got to keep fitting. You got to keep striking. And you got to keep tackling.
Yerk out, was there any consideration of playing Baber again? I know he's got one more game left. That he be so redshirt. What's the status there?
Yeah, with that one, we've been trying to, really be mindful of that one game and, which one to use it on. And so we've got to, there really wasn't, if maybe it had happened way before, we've had him sort of prepped and ready, as we go through. So we just have to be mindful of when to use that.
Brad, we know about Tennessee's firepower. I know that your defense has struggled in the last couple matchups against them, especially down in Knoxville. How are you guys preparing for them and trying to get a different result there?
Yeah, it starts with playing better. Regardless of the team that we're playing on Saturday, we have to play better. And we have to be sort of efficient in terms of how we play defense. And when I say efficient, it can't be, hey, we have a couple of good plays and then we give up an explosive. Like that we have got to stay the course. And so much of last week was, hey, make sure these receivers don't get behind us. Well, we do that and they get explosive in the run game. Explosives are explosives, and we've got to be mindful of being able to keep the ball in front of us, force the offense to keep moving the ball. And we're trying to take calculated risks and shots, to go get pressure on a QB, to go try to create a negative play. But we also have to be mindful of understanding what explosives do to the momentum of a game. And so, they've got firepower on the outside edges. I mean, obviously Sampson as a running back is extremely, extremely talented. We saw what he did last year, in that game. So
You guys are, as a unit, are getting turnovers still, and you would have had more earlier in the season if those fumbles bounced your way, but you guys are still getting a ton of turnovers. Is that kind of the key in a big road game, tough environment like that, trying to get a couple of those?
yeah, turnovers are huge. Creating shorter fields for the offense are huge. When you go on the road in a really tough environment, you've got to play really good complementary football. You've got to give the offense possessions and field position where they have a chance to be successful. We know what kind of environment it's going to be. Night game down in Knoxville. So it's going to be loud. We've got to give them opportunities, and if we can do that through turnovers, if we can do that through, 3 and outs that create, a punting situation that's backed up. To me, that was one of the most crucial moments of the game, and every moment has its time, but we're up 10-0 last week, and they were 3 and out, 2 and an interception, and we're about to go 3 and out again, and it's 3rd down, and we lose contain, and he's able to break the pocket on a scramble drill, get a 25-yard completion. We end up getting off the field, forcing a punt, but instead of punting from inside their own 10-yard line, they're punting close to the 50. That's a huge field position difference. That is not playing complementary football from a defensive standpoint, trying to help your offense be successful. And so those are the moments that we need to do better and capitalize on. And it's just as simple as doing our job, being fundamentally sound, understanding what we're trying to do. We're bringing a big, heavy middle pressure. Well, the only place he's going to escape is outside. So making sure we get high and outside to keep him in the middle. Those things are things that we have to do better as a defense. And we have to do better coaching-wise, that there's a complete understanding of what we're trying to get done on each of our plays.
Right, what have you seen from Noah and Tyrese, and what do you need to continue seeing from them in the case JJ isn't able to get out?
Yeah, they need to continue to grow and execute at a high level. They both have potential. They're different style players. Noah a little bit more physical. Tyrese a little bit looser, more fluid. And so they each bring something a little bit different. They have to learn how to play to their strength, but they also just need to do it consistently. And they've each had moments where they've done things well, and they've each had moments where they've done some things that have hurt the defense on that specific play. And so we have to get those out.
You mentioned complementary football. When the shoe's on the other foot, there's back-to-back weeks where you get a turnover and a favorable field position. Can it be challenging mentally for the defense if the offense isn't taking advantage of those opportunities?
Honestly, if you're a mentally tough football team, the only thing that matters is the next series. It shouldn't matter the score. It shouldn't matter where the field position is. It shouldn't. If you're what you want to be as a defense, every time you step across that line, you take it as a challenge, however you got there. If you're worried about how it got there, you're worrying about the wrong thing. And so, to say momentum doesn't play a part in football or in sports is completely, that'd be to say you have complete blinders on. It does, like the momentum. But as far as going out on the field and, whatever happened after a forced turnover or this or that, like that, listen, you're worried about the wrong thing if you're too worried about that. We've got to go back out and force another one. We've got to go back out and worry about the next play. and then force it to second down, force it to third down, and then get off the field. And that's where our eyes, our vision need to be.
Brad, what's been your assessment of J.Q. Arnold?
I think JQ's played well for the most part. I think he would be the first to admit, I think there were some tackles, on some hitch plays that he should make and then he would expect himself to make. But there was also some others that you saw what we expect of him. I think of one to their sideline. They throw a hitch. He comes down, bangs it, drives it back, 4 or 5 yard. Hitch tackles aren't going to lose you a game in terms of like if you make the tackle. Hitch tackles can lose you a game if you miss the tackle, right? They can create explosives. So I think, like most guys on our defense right now, he has played winning football for a large chunk of his plays, and then there are plays like all of us, including me as a coordinator, that you'd like to have back.
Generally speaking, just losses are stacking up. How do you try to keep the team morale up when you're going to play a top 10 team on the road?
Yeah, I think you just have to stay focused on the task. Listen, we had this same question, right, going into Ole Miss. And it's not to, listen, if you have another opportunity to go on the field, you've got another opportunity to prove yourself. And there's no worse feeling than ending on an embarrassing loss and they give you no more games. We've got an opportunity as a defense, as a team, to go back out on the field and prove who we really are, to prove what this program's about. And you either accept that challenge or you don't. And I've got great confidence in this group that they're going to go out and they're going to practice, and they're going to practice hard, and they're going to prep, and they're going to show up on Saturday ready to go. Now, how that ends up playing out, we'll all find out on Saturday night. But they're not going to go in there wallowing. No. Yep.
Coach Hamdan here, ready to.
Thank you.
Prayers out to Coach's family, and know the impact that his mom has made on them, and our thoughts, our prayers are with them and their whole family. So go ahead and get started.
Starting quarterback, and just how do you decide who's going to play here moving forward?
Yeah, we're evaluating everything today. We're getting back with those guys and want to get face-to-face with them again. I know we've addressed it. It was something we were going to do in the game. We knew we were going to do that, so both quarterbacks were aware of it, and we'll address that moving forward.
No, you probably won't know until Wednesday, but expect or hope to get any of the 3 key injury guys back?
We hope so. So we'll see again. As you guys know, it's day to day, and just trying to certainly see where we're at with that running back situation, particularly, and continuing with the O-line as well. So,
How do you challenge the offense to continue to push forward despite the struggles and the just losses that are stacking up?
It's always been a 1-0 mentality, and so as hard as that can be, it's really keep the focus, stay within the confines of what we got to get done, and a lot of times that's obviously easier said than done. But I think these players have done a tremendous job with their attitudes and coming back to work every Monday. It's no different. We got to put a plan together for Tennessee and a really good team and take that mentality.
Bush, is there a common thread with some of the issues in terms of punching again from inside the 5?
I think there's, consistency is always something there. I think it's a mixture. Again, I feel like with you guys, I've owned up to it. Are you just going to line up and be able to run it in here all the time? You're not, and so we've got to change that focus a little bit, throw the ball even more when we're down in those situations with with the defenses we're playing and how packed they are inside. Again, we attempted to do that one time last week, and probably could have had success with, and then we tried it again at the end there. But I got to do a good job. Starts with me on putting the best scheme together to finish those drives, because that's obviously been a huge frustration for us this whole year, and we got to go execute and have that mentality when it's a yard away, 2 yards away to go get that done.
How did you feel Alec Wood did his first standpoint time?
Yeah, we were, I think he took huge strides against Florida. I think, like any young freshman, certainly just took him a little bit of time to get comfortable, if you will, in this last game. He's a guy we're excited about. He's got a ton of potential, ton of athleticism, and will continue to get better as he plays.
Coach, if you make a quarterback decision this week, is that more about how they looked last week, or what you think the best strategy against Tennessee is going to be?
Probably a little bit of both, and again, I think we're taking into account the whole thing, if you will, how they've looked all year and how we've had them. And again, in some ways last week, based off of our running back situation, impacted that a little bit. But this week will be, again, staying focused on Tennessee and what we got to do to win this game.
Coach, how does your play calling change with Gavin as like the primary quarterback versus just for him coming in for Brock for a play? Like when you gave Gavin that whole second half, did your play calling change at all, and how so?
You always change a bit just based off of their strengths, their weaknesses. Again, the decision to play him last week was, as you guys know, to give him a chance at being in there the whole time and have the opportunity to have the whole playbook, if you will. I think we had been putting him in there to supplement the running backs, to get some quarterback run going, trying to sneak in a throw here or there to keep the defense honest. Again, what he got the opportunity last week, what we got the opportunity of last week was to see him go out there and get the whole playbook and be able to go from there.
Pardon my harsh question, Bush, but do you think Gavin is good enough, and is he prepared enough to lead an SEC team to a win like that?
Look, we're extremely fortunate to have him. I think it's a tough question to ask that from the standpoint of anytime you're a backup or you're the number two guy, the limited reps you're taking week in and week out, to maybe go out there in that situation. But as we know, you got to be ready when your number's called. We think he did some good things, and we're just continuing to evaluate that.
Is there any part of it like, well, Brock went down to Ole Miss, he got a road SEC win. Is there a little more comfortable feeling there with him since he's had that under his belt going into this game?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, I've said it many times, Brock is extremely steady. He is never too high, never too low. He's a guy that understands what it takes to win in this conference. I think the biggest thing with him is just consistency. And we're excited about their growth.
Bush, is Brock maybe locking on the receivers a little too much, having trouble with progressions? Is it a matter of not a whole lot of clean pockets? Can you put your finger on them?
I think that's the experience part, and in a lot of ways, especially in third down situations when the defense knows, you're in a throwing situation, and the ability for them to disguise coverage and, like you said, getting through certain progressions, and that will get better over time. I think he's in a situation where he's a mature guy. I think when you guys meet with him, he's a mature guy. You're not dealing with a freshman, but experience is experience, and he's going to continue to get better. But I would agree. I think that's something we've talked about in back-to-back weeks, certainly in third down situations and fourth down situations. They're playing man or they're playing zone, and the direction it goes based off of what they play, your progression changes, and the recognition of that's going to be critical for him to take the next step.
Just kind of the season, how do you balance offensive consistency, but also, like you said, switching up a couple new pieces to try to make new explosive plays and stuff like that?
The question of how do you balance that? Yeah. It's never perfect, right? Anytime you're in a situation where you're maybe midway through the year still trying to figure out who some of those critical pieces are, you do the best you can with it, and I think that's where we're at. And obviously you want to be in a situation where you know exactly who it is, and they've played in the system for multiple years and have that SEC experience. But we're taking one day at a time. I think that's the biggest focus, 1 week at a time. Who's going to give us the best chance to win this game? And with that being said, making sure guys are given opportunities who deserve opportunities and go from there.
You've coached in that stadium before. What kind of problems does that present, especially if you've got young guys in the backfield and at right tackle?
Yeah, I think we all know, you know what I mean? It's a loud environment. This will be, I think, my third or fourth time being there on the road, and but an awesome challenge, I think, in a lot of ways for us, especially offensively. It's critical. The messages, we're all we need. The guys in that room, and this is why you come to Kentucky. This is why you play in the SEC. Maybe not to be exactly where we're at right now, but this is the test of all tests. And I'm excited to get back in there with those guys, and that's what it's about. Eliminate the outside noise, get on the road, hostile environment, and go play one play at a time.
Okay, folks, thank you very much.
Hey guys, there is lunch back up in the